Design your calendar for the life you want. If I want to be accountable, I have to say it out loud, and I seem to be making this work, even if I'm not sure what the heck I'm going to do when I start. Hi everyone, Patty here. I'll use my typed up page of months and weekly nomenclatures. Those are working good and it gives a nice finished look. I just made these typed up months and days using Word on my computer. Of course, we will ink up the edges with Distress ink and walnut. Daily is glued up top. I like to have my week start on Sunday, but if you don't, these pages are so versatile, being there are no dates or daily nomenclatures, you can do it any way you'd like. I add the month to the side of the monthly calendar. I still just wrote the dates in at the corner of each box for the month, so I have plenty of room to add the weather for each day. I love going back and looking to see what the weather was a year ago at this time. For this month, I'm using my Smash Flower digitals, and I have a couple pages I want to decorate. This page I'm going to paint with my oxide ink refillers. I picked a yellow, purple, forest moss, which is green, and a blue that I have, a small paintbrush, and a squirt bottle with water. I just put a little squirt of the oxide refillers onto my non-stick pad. Make sure you shake these refillers up real well before you use these, or you won't get a true color of the oxides. A tiny bit goes a long way, so don't squirt out a big dollop. Now I just add a little bit of water from my squirt bottle beside the tiny dots. I just go in and add a hint of color to the hand-drawn Smash Flower pictures. I don't try to stay in lines, I just add a little splash of color to the flowers. I pick one color and make the same looking flowers all the same color. That helps with the eye when it is finished to see the same color of texture in thirds or odd numbers. Blue goes on the tiny little flowers scattered through the beautiful flower arrangement. Yellow is going on the larger flowers, and I added the forest moss on the stems and leaves. Again, I don't have to stay in the lines, I just want a hint of color in the areas of the drawing. If you leave some of the white background to show through, it adds extra texture and interest to your flowers, giving them highlights. The forest moss, when you use water with the oxide inks, gives an oxidation, and it just makes these leaves look so realistic and pop on your page. I found the yellow flowers looked a little flat, so I picked out of my refillers a red color and added it to the buds, and I used a little of the yellow and darkened a few more petals of the yellow flowers. For the vase, I cut out from a scrap of paper a vase shape and cut a vase from a digital paper. I tried a couple different shapes. The larger one is cut from a coffee filter. I was thinking the more translucent the filter would let the stems show, and it would look like a vase with the stems in the water. But I went with the digital paper instead and glued all that down off camera. With the digital kit, you get these little pictures of flowers and leaves that are hand painted with watercolors. And I want to make a couple paper clips with these. I cut out 4 of these little flowers. I cut 2 pieces of yellow cardstock, a little bigger than the little pictures of flowers and leaves. Approximate size of the yellow cardstock is 5" by 2". I want one of the paper clips to be orientated with the paper clip to go on the top of the page and one to go on the side of the page. So how you orientate the paper clip on the fold of the yellow cardstock is how the hidden paper clip will be on your page. Of course, we ink the edges of each piece to help the pieces stand out, both on the flowers and the yellow cardstock. Orientate your paper clip with the fold depending on where the paper clip will go on the page. This one with the fold on the yellow cardstock at the top will go on the top of the page. I like to add a little tape to the paper clip to hold it in place. The top of the paper clip will show with this method, but I will be adding some dangles to that later. I glue the little flowers onto the yellow cardstock and cover up the tape I used to hold the paper clip on. Glue a flower or leaf from the digital kit onto the hidden paper clip on both the front and back side of your hidden paper clip because it will be double-sided. This one will be orientated so the paper clip will add to the fold on the left side of the yellow cardstock. Make sure you get a good crease on your yellow cardstock. You may want to use a bone to get a crisp edge. I'm trying to decide where I want my hidden paper clips and how they should be orientated on the page. Cutting the edge with a decal cut or scissors adds some nice interest to your paper clip. And don't forget to ink those edges all the way around and on both sides. Again, I add a piece of tape to secure the paper clip in its position. Don't tape it all the way up to the top or you will see the tape, and we want to be able to hang a dangle on the little piece of the end of the paper clip. Glue your pretty little flowers or leaves to the yellow cardstock, making sure you orientate the pictures in the direction that you are making the clip. Glue the flowers or leaves to both sides because you will see the clip on both sides of the page. Make sure your paper clips work on a page in your planner before you add the dangle to the end of the paper clip, and that you didn't glue anything closed that you shouldn't have. This paper clip will hold this envelope nicely. Now to add a little dangle to the side. I've listed this video on making these dangle tiles in the description. I went with the circle words tile, add a little hole to the top to hold the bulb pin and attach to the top of the paper clip. I go into more detail in the dangle video on making these dangles. Now we're ready to take a page of the Smash Flower kit that has no color and add some color to it with either watercolors or colored pencils. Being we did a watercolor technique on the other page with the Distress Oxide Refiller inks, this one will be fun to use colored pencils. When coloring the flowers, use the same color on the flowers that look the same. This gives us some symmetry to the page. I like to use several colors over the top of each other to give a nice depth and color on the flowers and leaves with the colored pencils. I sped this up because you do you and color the flowers the way you like. I may like this month the best so far as I like to not have to come up with an idea, and I can just color or watercolor and not have to come up with a new idea or plan on a page. I really enjoyed this process, and I did each page different days. So this video is several days of working in my journal. So several days of creative work and not having a plan or idea, just creating. The leaves get several colors of green, layering the colors of the green onto the leaves, giving them depth and dimension. I have one blank page in my journal that I want to use a page from the Smash Flower kit to make a page with a little more interest or design versus coloring. I picked this page with the flowers in a bunch. I went and picked a few flowers from my pots in the garden that might work good for smashing onto the page. The Sanvatilla didn't give me much of a yellow color as I was wanting. Marigolds would have worked much better, but I did not have any in bloom at this time. I love to make ink with marigolds, and that may be a video for the future. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested. I use a clear sheet of overhead transparency, only so you can see the color being pounded out of the petals and leaves. I also use a rubber mallet to smash the flowers. Place the petals and leaves randomly on the page, putting colors where you might like to see that color on your page. You may be surprised on what color you get from a pink petal, but that is the fun of flower smashing. Don't use the whole flower in one area, as there is a lot of juice and color that comes off a single petal or leaf, so go sparingly on adding the petals to your page. You could just fold this page in half and smash the flowers through both pages, and both pages would receive the color from the petals and leaves. But for this demo, I'm using the clear page so you can see what is going on. You could also get your flowers all on it and then run it through your die cutting machine or your Big Shot and get a lot of color smashed on both pages. I'm just doing one page for this demonstration. Zooming in shows how smashing flowers on your work table with the camera attached might not be of such a great idea. Everything is shaking. Make sure you can see the color coming off the petals and get into all the areas with the mallet to get the color from the petals and leaves. You may find you need to add a little more color in some places that might not have gotten as much color as you wanted. So add a few more petals to the large flower and smashed a little more color. Gently wipe off the excess squished flowers from the page. I used a large soft bristle paintbrush to gently wipe off any excess. The pink geranium had such a beautiful purple color when its juices came out. Now I fussy cut out the bouquet of flowers just in a rough shape around the bouquet, in and out and around the stems. Most of the stems will be covered up when finished with a bow and another little flower with a quote. I find the page in my journal where I want to add this piece. I like using book pages from books, textbooks that have equations and physics diagrams for my background. I rip this down using my tear ruler and make it a little smaller than the page I will be gluing it onto. Then I add a little distress ink around the edges of my bouquet and the textbook page. Check for size and see if you need to cut off any more of the fussy cut bouquet. Glue down the textbook page onto the blank page in your journal. I'm trying for the first time Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. I really like the cap for the fine tip. I've been using art glitter glue, but I have had a heck of a time getting the fine tip to work. I either cut off too much of the top and the fine tip won't fit, or something seems to go wrong. I've even bought extra caps to see what I'm doing wrong and try again to only cut another one wrong. With all of that said, I don't have to do any of the cutting with the Barely Art Precision Glue, which is a win-win in my book. Wipe off any excess glue with a baby wipe, and adding glue to any areas that didn't get stuck down. I cut another little flower from the Smash Flower Small Digital Kit. I use my tear ruler to cut out the little flower to give a deckled edge around the little flower. And of course, to stress those edges, I have a bag of cheesecloth that I have colored different colors of pieces of cheesecloth. So I find a piece that would look good under this flower. I thought a light purple would be good with the whole piece. I pulled this and cut a piece that would be a little bigger than the little flower. I pick a ribbon to make a bow for the base of the bouquet. This one didn't work as well as I wanted, so I went with a different ribbon. My bow was a little wonky, but it still looks good for a focal point on the page. I just kept manipulating it until it was the right size for my page and cut off any excess ends. I have a page of quotes that I have printed out, and I picked one and cut it to fit a background piece of black to attach the quote to. Glue these pieces down to the bottom left side of the page. I added the quote right under the bow, kind of off-centering it so the bow's hanging off one side just a little bit. I went around the flowers and pieces I wanted to stand out with a charcoal pencil and smudged the edges. I went and added a little of the charcoal pencil around the textbook pages to add depth. Some of the smashed flowers, like the geranium, covered up the flower petals, and I want them to be up front and stand out more, so adding the charcoal pencil really helped. This also just gives it an aged look. And I put a little bit of the charcoal pencil under the quote too to help it stand out, and around the little flower. Just gives it more of a little frame. I like the way this looks. Now we have 3 simple pages done in our journal that will add some beautiful interest for our May month. I want accountability to do the Plan With Me videos, so I'm writing down my goals and sharing them each month. I really think this has helped me get a little more organized and a lot more productive. My overall monthly planner page that I have in my pocket, I keep track of my appointments, which are mostly self-care. Priorities or checklists will be changed to projects and videos I'm working on. I go back and look at what we planned in April and what didn't get done so I can add it to May. This sheet is a work in progress all month, so I will keep adding to it when new ideas come up. Tags and projects that I still didn't get done, I move to the next month. Maybe I can get the Color Splash journal going. I have such great ideas for it. In the Plan With Me April, we organized our stamps. Step tracker is looking better now that the weather is changing. My habit tracker is working with tracking just a few items and more generic topics versus a specific item. I'm ready for May in my planner. Let's organize our die cuts. I have this stand that holds my Big Shot and all of my embossing folders, and right now it's a mess with stuff like my inks that need to be refilled with my handmade inks that I keep out in a refrigerator in the garage, my journals that I haven't finished, sort of a collect-all spot when you walk into the craft room door. Above the stand, I have these magnetic sheets that hold my die cuts that I use often. I like this method, but the magnetic sheets aren't as strong as I would like the die cuts, and they can fall off when you have a nestled set and want a specific one. I was thinking I wanted to purchase one of these from Amazon, 80-piece stamp die storage bag and rubber magnetic sheets die storage set for storage and die cutting. It cost about $30, but if I have my stuff tucked away and I can't see it, chances are I won't use it. So I don't know if this is really all that great of an idea. Leave a comment on how you organize your die cuts. I would love to hear. Have a great month, and I hope you're using your planner, getting organized, and being more productive. Life is a gift. Enjoy each day. Bye.